Okay, today is the 27th of September, and let's talk about Hannah Arendt. So I just extract from a few concepts. So we're gonna talk about the certain essence of Hannah, Hannah Arendt. Yeah, concepts that she develops of what is to be a human, and I want to state that what's happening to me is precisely a crime against humanity. Yeah, not necessarily because it is, let's say, someone attacking millions of people. It could be possible in the future with certain technology and the computation power, but what's happening to me is a crime against humanity because it betrays, attacks what is to be a human at its core. So plurality. For Hannah Arendt, once you are born, you are a human that can be anything, and therefore they will be different kind of humans, and therefore you will have the possibility to always change. But this kind of technology doesn't allow you to change. Let's say this morning I was trying to study some statistics because I wanted to get a certificate to work, and it doesn't allow me to study. Then I will start to have like high pitched sounds, and also they will start to kind of uh, shut down my concentration. As I say as well, they modify the way in which I speak. Not just because the medication, but as soon as you make a rationalization in your brain and you try to keep those words in the back of your mind that identify where these kind of RAM or words are stored, and then stop them to come out. So you have to develop a technique for speaking. Yeah, but okay, it seems to be quantum technology because it seems that they can make a prediction of what I will think, and as soon as that prediction becomes probably executed in, let's say, because it's predicted what I'm gonna do, then they stop my brain to do so, and then they put the 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 line of thought that they want me to follow. This is mind blowing, but it's not. It's not really. It's actually technically it's super easy when you think about it, because remember that the electron can be divided infinitely, and even if and the electromagnetic wave can be divided infinitely. So then you could create very, very, very fine stimulations that are extremely as fine as like the 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 neurons come to be a really thick kind of place for stimulation. Yeah. So then a neuron comes to be like a massive piece of log in which you need just to write. Yeah. So we are talking about nothing that is super fine, super elaborated when you think about the technicalities of engineering. Yeah, it's the state of the art technology, and they are using it in this way to attack academics. They attack me. They will show you. You look. They will show you in the data as me being someone who make jokes, speaks badly, then I don't know, watch porn, watch things that are not important online. In the other side, you will see that my record also of things that I am seeing through the time is just related with quantum mechanics, technology, electricity, a lot of philosophy, a huge download of books, massive download of books, very curated movies, etc., etc., etc. But if you just want to see whatever you deem as immoral, which is not, I don't really regret of anything there, because it's not something that I will say. I mean, it's nothing related with situations like mm, well, yeah, I would say like hardcore stuff. Yeah, I watch hardcore stuff, but it's not something that really stuck with me, because it simply is like, okay, this is what it is. No thanks. Yeah, I move on. But it is precisely what happened when you decide what you like, what you don't like, and yes, then as one of the someone say one of these, not someone, but one of these models in the radio it's like I don't have ape shit. Yeah, I don't have ape shit in which I did something bad enough to send me to jail as a criminal. Yeah, and that becomes an advantage and a disadvantage, because they cannot blackmail you, but then moral righteousness makes some people afraid. Now, yeah, makes some people afraid because yeah, other people can be blackmailed, and this is a system of blackmailing, and also, well, it's hindering the plurality. Then people like me that wants to break away from that kind of homogenization, then is punished. But it's not in the rules that you will be punished for such things. Yeah, so I didn't know that that could happen in Australia, and it's frightening. Now, okay, let's read this. Arendt defines this as the fundamental condition of human life, stating plurality is the condition of human action because we are all the same, that is, human, in such a way that nobody is ever the same as anyone else who ever lived, lives, or will live. This is beautifully depicted. You know, this is the AI that doesn't allow me to speak properly. When I speak, it's extremely difficult to speak. You cannot imagine. And this has been happening since 2016. So it will blow your mind. The effort, the cognitive effort that I've been doing during years. You cannot understand it because precisely you are not in my mind. You might see outside that I might be lazy, that I don't do this stuff, etc. But if I place too much of my brain just to please you, I won't be able to survive. Yeah? So, okay. Now, it means that since we are humans, we are all different. Full stop. Yeah, but then it's a condition. No one is equal, that's right. Everyone is different. The biology of the brain at its core is different. Then we have some homogenizing forces, like the ones that are using this technology, in which they kind of homogenize people, and that's one of the definitions of fascism, to impose the same reality to everyone. Okay? Okay. It encompasses both equality and distinction. Equality and distinction. Equality, we all humans. Remember that Hannah Arendt was Jewish. Although she was not drawn as Jewish, she was into the Jewish community, because technically she was rescued by the Jewish community. And she, being Jewish, she's one of the scholars who says Judaism divides humanity, saying that it's the only chosen people by God, and saying that other gods does not exist. Hannah Arendt talks about we are all humans, yeah? And I'm a Jewish, I mean, Hannah Arendt saying that I'm a Jewish, and we are all humans. Because I'm Jewish, I'm not special, or I'm not um, saying that that's Hannah Arendt. No, it's Hannah Arendt saying that because Hannah Arendt is a Jewish, she does not see herself outside the humanity just because she is Jewish, you know. So it's something to keep in mind. It encompasses both equality and distinction, enabling the space to arise where individuals can appear as unique beings in the presence of others, without which actions would lack meaning. When I put when I put words in between, it's because I have read already what is there, and then the AI changes what I want to say, and this is done super fast. But that's why I say this movie about schizophrenia, about this guy, brilliant mind, is just a piece of propaganda. And then I'm sure that in the headquarters, where the and that's a problem because this is, the Nazis were stopped to do propaganda, and that's why the government of of Germany cannot have any means of communication, but it doesn't work here in that way. Okay, they still being in the old times. They live yeah, as in the old times. So then it also means that pieces of information that are like the DSM-5, which is a tick book, most likely will be sitting on the table of the of the people that is they don't allow me to say, they want me to say executing, but I want to say the people who is operating these machines. Most likely they have a DSM-5 manual somewhere there, just to check what they can do, they cannot do, just to keep the people confused when they place a fake diagnosis. Okay, so this is attacking directly humanity, my humanity. Yeah, what is to be a human? This is why these are crimes against humanity. Okay, because this is precisely to attack at its core humanity, not because it's doing something wrong towards the future of humanity or against what makes us humans as a group to do something. No, it's attacking exactly what is to be a human. So it's like crimes against humanity and crimes against what is humanity, or what is to human, which is worse. Yeah, is changing the nature of who we are as humans. Yeah, and maybe the boundaries of what is to be a human will be trespassed, and we stop to be humans. And when that happens, people who get enhanced will see themselves superior as humans, and they will colonize humans as a racial kind of um, war. And other people like me that is downgraded with the technology, then is dehumanized because it's not a human anymore, as it is a subhuman by these forces. So these are crimes against humanity. Yeah, and people who is working in this, they should stand up and say, I'm not gonna keep going with this. And then is when disobedience comes. Otherwise, they will repeat the same tragedy as the Nazis. Okay. Action. For Hannah Arendt, action is not a passive subject, but is active. the capacity to create, the capacity to transform, to being. As the highest form of the beta activa, she talks about beta, the life that is active and the life that is not active. She takes this from the Greek philosophy. So, because you can live a life that is as well towards life, or a life that doesn't move towards life, but is rather active and is towards, let's say, consumption. Yeah. Then, action is the initiation of something new. Paraphrase as the capacity to begin, to start something new, to do the expected, which with which all humans begin are endowed by virtue of being born. Now, a lot of intermissions then when reading. Okay. To start something new, to do the unexpected. Let's say you are born in one. Let's say you are born in the Congo. You are a kid, and you have to work as a slave. It's only about that person knowing and having the information, consciousness, because consciousness is deposited in the brain. Consciousness is not, it doesn't come with the brain. But if you are conscious, then you will say, God, I want to leave this place. I will move to another country. And then that person most likely will start to plan to leave. Yeah? Because he's conscious of the future that departs in that place. Then the person will plan to leave. And this kid most likely leave the Congo and leave the place, because that fate, destiny, or doom that was for him or for her now becomes something new, something unexpected, the capacity to create something new. Yeah? But this has to do with consciousness. Action is related with consciousness. I have not seen Hannah Arendt talk about that precisely, but that's one of the problems of let's say, assuming, or what is called the one of the cores of intelligence, that you assume that the other people will understand this, knowing not knowing what information the other person has. The course of knowledge is called, with which all humans beings are endowed by virtue of being born. Yes, by virtue of being born. But endowed as having the consciousness? No. All of them have the consciousness. So what they are doing to me is also crimes against consciousness, crimes against peace. Because when you are conscious, you understand that peace is possible. When you try to wake up the people, that awakening is for a peaceful world in the future. Yeah, people who is awakened, who has been awakened. It's like people who understand that, oh shit, we have been living our history as humans unconsciously. That's why we cannot leave that loop of violence. Yeah? Okay. It iterates with plurality by requiring an audience, and with speech by revealing the actor's wholeness, forming the web of relationship that constitutes the space. Of course, it interrelates with plurality, because every person can do and then be. You have to do something, you have to put yourself outside to be someone. But she talks about something very important. You have to have an audience and a speech, because we need words to be. That's why I record this. Even if maybe not many people will watch it because I need words to be. I cannot express this outside. If I try to put a complaint in the Ombudsman of Human Rights in Australia, there is not a section for myself. There is not a section to say for a claim against violation of human rights from an unknown perpetrator. I do not have that, not even in the Commonwealth. Okay? So then, what can I do? I have to talk. I have to create these videos. Yeah? I have no option, and then I try to study. I try to find a job. And then I start to have the high pitch. I was giving as well some pain this morning, like a mild, kind of direct pain towards a nerve. It feels more that it's just to stop me to go out, rather than the you can tell the purpose of these things as well. It's not, in this case, it was just not allowing me to leave my place. Now, okay, so we are words. The mind is private and supposed to be private, but with this technology it's not private anymore. So we are taking away from our capacity to action, to have an active life, and that's scary. Most of the people doesn't understand that. Yeah, but we need speech to reveal ourselves to the outside. Speech is what tell the others who we are. So when we talk, we are putting a little bit of nakedness of our soul outside. Yeah, we are making ourselves. When we say the truth about who we are, when we are making ourselves naked to the others, and the others stand to understand who we are. Yeah, I always saw that they always create great relationships because the other people knew who I was, and let's say this is something that Dr. Brown, Dr. They don't allow me to bring it. It's simply like that because it's a name that is very present in my mind. This is Dr. This she wrote the book, the Dare to Lead. Brené Brown. Okay, Brené Brown talks about being vulnerable, to be yours, to connect, to create long-lasting relationships, to create true relationships. Brené Brown talks about how important it is to be vulnerable, because if we don't expose ourselves, then how the hell we want to be accepted? And to be accepted is love. It's part of love. So then, if someone is changing your words, or you allow that someone to change your words, you should expect a life in which it will be difficult to connect with others. You most likely will be living a life in which you cannot develop your personality, and then you will start to get confused about who you are. Instead to explore the human condition, you decide not to explore it, but to something else to determine what is your humanity. And that's something to which I have never consent, because it's well known among the let's say intelligence services that this technology changes your words. But there is a prototype of, of their of their psyche for which they prefer disconformity. Yeah, but this is a prototype of the psyche also that led to disasters in the past. But now the situation is different. People can have more agency because they have agency for certain things, but when it comes the time to do the right thing, if most of the people is not doing the right thing, then it's gonna be a huge problem. Yeah. And me, I never consent to that. I never signed up for anything like that. I did not sign up for any secret agency, army, or political party. And I had been kind of I've been in the position in which they had been trying to recruit me since I was 15. But instead, at some stage I think I could have worked in something like that. But then, when I was 23, instead to be recruited, I started to be attacked. And then they tried to mind control me, so I could have done an undiscriminated attack against society, but they couldn't mind control me. So they decided to put me in a mental health hospital, and they tried to kill my ex-girlfriend. And lucky she survived. But that's evil. It's the definition of evil. It is the definition of evil. It is a crime against humanity. I cannot concentrate. I cannot have action. I cannot create a family. I cannot love. I cannot put myself outside. I'm hindered to be a human. I cannot fully flourish as a human. And that's a crime against humanity. At the core of what is to be a human. Speech. Integral to action, speech articulates meaning and coordinates plurality. As Arendt notes, action and speech are so closely related because the primordial and specific act must at the same time contain the answer to the question asked of every newcomer: who you are. Who are you? Let's see. I explained that before. Who are you? The human condition. Now, it transforms this into narrative, sustaining the speech through discourse and remembrance, interconnected with power by fostering persuasion over coercion. Dialogue. It transforms deeds into narratives, sustaining the space through disclosure and remembrance, interconnecting with power by fostering persuasion over coercion. It transforms deeds into narratives. When you say actions is worth more than words, or actions are worth more than 1,000 words, well, an action is never an action if it cannot be related into words, or it cannot be transformed into words. So you can see someone doing an action, but that someone's doing that action becomes words because you have to express them. Yeah. You have to express what the person is doing. So actions cannot exist without words in a certain way. And people, being, yeah, action cannot exist for humans if we don't have words. And this is not about the capacity to speak. This is about the capacity to communicate who we are. Precisely what she said. Sustaining the space through disclosure and remembrance. What the people remember about us and what we say to the others. Then, look, I never care if I was being recorded. I never care about anything. Because, it's like deep state, secret services stuff, whatever. I trust them. And that was always my belief. Because why they will be transgressive towards my privacy? Why they will push me, why they will create these sexist narratives about the people I sleep with, or why they will create this kind of misogyny about all the girls through I had or I slept with or I have romances with or I simply communicate with. Why they will throw back that to me in a respective form if I trust them, if that's supposed to be private, if that's supposed precisely to it's supposed to foster the privacy that I will have with others. It do not have to be outside, because if everyone is aware that whatever you write, whatever you post, gonna be used against you in the future, because you don't have privacy only in your mind unless you are target. Then if you are not aware of that, or worse, because what happened to me is like I simply was not aware. I think like why they will do that to me if I follow the law. There is no reason for which they're gonna open an investigation to me. There is no reason for which someone will say that I did something wrong. There is, and if they open that investigation, it will be clear that I have nothing to do with it. Yeah, but then someone who enact action, someone who understands the plurality, someone who uses his speech will be most likely to be target. Then this is a system that will shut down consciousness. Plurality is against humanity. What they are doing is a crime against humanity. What they are doing to me. Now, if I did nothing wrong, why will I worry about what I was communicating in the chats, what I was speaking with other people? Why would I worry that in the future that will be used against me? If I was following every single rule, therefore I should not worry, and therefore my privacy should have been respected. Yeah. Then, since I'm not in the let's say the public realm, the space of appearances, let's say as a politician, then what they do is that they destroy whatever I could be in the future, my career, my possibilities. Yeah. But I still being a human, but I'm just a human subject to inhuman treatment. But I still being a human. Yeah. uh, interconnecting with power by fostering persuasion over coercion. That's why politics exists, because you can speak, you persuade people. Yeah? You put outside words, you create reality, because with words comes action as well. There is a lot of studies related with the materialization of words. MyX.com talks about that, linguistic materialism. I don't know if that's a term in itself, but it's just funny for myself that it's just this. Linguistic materialism. Yeah? Violence is the last refugee of the incompetent. Isaac Asimov. Isaac Asimov used to do um, science fiction. Yeah, when it's like you have two blacksmiths competing for which will do the best hammer, and one blacksmith killed the other, most likely because that blacksmith was the incompetent, and that's a paradox. Yeah, because then the blacksmith will say, "I won because I killed the other," and it can be in any competence. In many, imagine there is a competence of, I don't know, something like sports, and the person who kills the other sportman of sport women wins. That's the logic of what they are doing to me. Okay, that's the logic of this competition, and that's the logic that most of the speeches that I've seen in the UN claim. Okay. Now, then it transformed deeds into narratives, sustaining the space through disclosure and remembrance, interconnecting with power by fostering persuasion over coercion. Then, when you speak, you have to sustain a narrative. This is a kind of intelligence. This is a kind of habit. And this is also a kind of habitus that comes into certain fields and social classes and families. Is not one that comes from my family, but now that I understand it, I'm not able to enact it. I'm not able to use it just because this technology doesn't allow me. It's like they try to push me towards one side, but they probably hated that even the days, let's say that I will maybe have a party, at the next day I will read, have a book. And they will be like, no, this is impossible. This guy is Colombian. All the Colombians do this. This guy cannot. Look, he doesn't like reggaeton. He doesn't like this. Now he drinks, he smoked like last night, and now he's fucking reading. We won't allow him to read. He only can smoke and drink because he's Colombian. That was before I was giving my permanent residency, because I was attacked before I was given the permanent residency. But why? Because it's the imposition of one reality. You should be this stereotype. It's not like in the Disney movies that they show a stereotype, like you should be like this in the other way. It's more like we impose the stereotype. We won't allow you to develop culture. It's like this is predetermined. Culture cannot develop organically. Yeah? This is the new real, which is a kind of artificial culture. Yeah? And that goes against humanity, at the core of humanity. Publicity, or the public realm. This is the locus of appearance, described as the space where I appear to others as others appear to, the space where I appear to others as others appear to me, where me, this is the and it's super annoying. You see, it's like I suppose not to be a scholar, and I can tell you that if you met me, you will not met more people than the fingers in your hand that can dominate so many subjects as I do, or can have this kind of deep conversations about so many subjects. And then I cannot read just because this technology doesn't allow me. I was reading yesterday, I could read in my mind, but now when I try to recite, I'm not allowed in this video. So I will try to see if I could recite when reading other stuff, just to show when I try. Okay, the space where I appear to others as the others appear to me, where men exist not merely like other livings or inanimate things, but make their appearance explicitly. That was easier. It emerges whenever people gathers in speech and action, relating to plurality. Again, I'm supposed to not pronounce that. And also when I try to use my accent as speaking English as clearly as possible, I start to have micro intermissions. Yeah, because your mind will mind blow everyone who knows me around, will be mind blown. They won't be able to believe you have not been able to speak in your accent all these years. You have not been allowed to express yourself as you express yourself. So we don't know the real Daniel. And that's precisely with speech and action and putting outside, I didn't say outside, ourselves outside. Yeah? Then people will say like, so all this time I had been blind of who you are. And I'm more like, yes, I've been trying to say that the whole time. This is not how I speak, you see. This is not my words. I try to always find those words, but they don't allow me to express myself. This is against what is to be a human at its core. Okay? And it's becoming more difficult right now for some reason to speak. But let's try to make it properly anyway, as much as I can. So this is the locus of appearance. The locus is the motivation. The locus of humans to be outside. Yeah, that's what we are talking about. Yeah, is what motivates us. This has been spoken by thinkers from Greece as well. Like, what motivates a politician to go outside is precisely that reward, to be recognized. Yeah, and this is not something bad. Yeah, it's precisely what keeps politics going and what makes us. Hey, I know that I could do this. I go there, so and I do it, and it's pleasurable. Yeah, and the others noticing that I could do it. Okay. That's precisely the motivation of many politicians, etc. Described as the space where I appear to others as others appear to me, where men exist not merely like other livings or inanimate things, but make their appearance explicitly. Then what they try to make me is to be inanimate, because I try to stay living in an vita activa, but then what they try me to do is like, don't go outside, don't talk, don't speak, take your fucking antipsychotic medication, yeah, stay quiet, take quatapine, yeah, all that sort of stuff, yeah. Like if I were in jail, but I go out I I do, yeah, the things as many other humans try to do, but these neuroweapons have this kind of nature that people will not believe you. People think that you are in a good space, but no, they don't know what is to live a life without love, without helping the others. With yeah, they don't know what is uh, being hindered and robbed from your humanity. Yeah, it's like whilst you are doing that, that is enjoyable, and you are having the hit of serotonin. My hit of serotonins are limited because and only be narrowed to live in a certain way, and this in the future will make sense, and that's why I have to do this video. Okay, power. For Hannah Arendt, power was something necessarily for humans. Yeah, and power is given. Remember that Hannah Arendt talks about the difference between power and violence. Power is given, violence exists when there is no power. Okay. Arendt paraphrases power as arising from collective action, stating, power is what keeps the public realm, the potential space of appearances between acting and speaking men, in existence. The human condition, page 200. It is generated through concerted effort and persuasion, interrelated with action and speech as the product, and with plurality as its source, distinguishing it from violence or strength. So this is collective action. Yeah, power is just many united. That's what they talk in the UN. In the UN, it's like we united. If we do agree, if we did do all together this, it would, yeah, full stop. It's like everyone in the UN is like we have to unite for this stuff, whatever. Then power is what keeps the public realm, the potential space of appearances between acting and speaking men, in existence. Power is given. Is what keeps the public realm and the people in it, the space of appearance between acting and speaking men, as acting and speaking men, and the power that happens in the public realm. You know, it's like a, you see you see the a prime minister, you see a president, you see a world leader, and they are presented before they're gonna speak, and after they are presented, everyone knows that they hold certain power, and they, in the space of appearances where they speak, they are acting, but they are also being. They are speaking. Yeah, this is not a private, let's say, dinner in their families. No, they are doing that publicly. And that power is also given. And when they speak, when they put words, they interpret reality for the rest. This is also what is called as the skeptron, or a kind of a skeptron, according with the sociology of Pierre Bourdieu. Okay, then it is generated through concerted effort and persuasion, interrelated with action and speech as their product. Action and speech, apparently for Hannah Arendt, yeah, this cannot be detached one from the other. The Greeks also try to make the distinction. Now we have certain sciences as well that talk about how, well, philosophically, always anything that exists or was created by humans has to first be a word, a speech. Yeah. So we have action and speech as almost the same thing, but if they are changing our words, if someone is attacking my words, they are changing my actions, and then I cannot be. You see what is the situation here? And then plurality goes to hell. And with plurality as its source, then what is plurality? Yeah. And this power is distinguished from violence and strength. Distinction from private and social realms. So the public realm of the space of appearances is the public realm, and she does that distinction, and that's important for the future, because even if we have AI, information should only move through the space of appearances. Yeah. But if we are able to make this clear for society, because whoever comes with the best words to deploy as in the space of appearances does it, it's possible to maintain reality with a lot hell of technology forever. Yeah? But that requires some study of the social sciences. That's why reality is crumbling right now, because these concepts are not clear. But if you want these concepts to be clear, then you have to defend human rights, because otherwise you stop to be a human, and then you start to attack people like me, etc. So it's complicated, but it's easy, and at the same time it's rational. It's like, come on, everyone is demanding that in the UN, that we stop to be cavemans and let's do the things with our heads. And some people think that everything has to be violence and domination, and that's the only way they have learned in their lives, and now they are imposing that to everyone, and that's fascism. Full stop. Yeah. Okay, distinction from private and social realms. Arendt emphasizes separation, noting that the public realm is distinct from our privately owned space in it. This is not the situation for me. My mind has been penetrated by this technology, because they took the information from the resonance images that happened with two very sophisticated machines, and before that as well. I do believe that in the future, just putting this device next to your head can do as kind of a slow motion MRI, etc. So we are in a very complicated situation. I am in a very complicated situation. And critiques the rise of the social, which blurs boundaries leading to conformity. The rise of the social, I cannot remember what is that. This distinction safeguards the space focus on freedom. I think this is a concept, but I did not identify it. Well, I have not read the full HumanCondition, just a few pages, and a few other books about Hannah Arendt and of Hannah Arendt. Yeah. Interrelating with publicity, which defining its exclusivity to political matters over household necessities. Okay, then the rise of the social is the space of appearance, but more the network that you develop through that space of appearance while socializing with other people's spaces of appearance. Okay, this is only one piece of another collection of stuff, because I want to connect it with other kind of literature. But it's difficult to speak if I cannot speak who I am. I have not a voice. When I was in the mental health hospital, they could frozen my tongue, like, and I will be speaking like this. They will frozen my tongue, and that will feel artificially generated. And that's how far they can go. Oh, well, they can go extremely far, but it's a shame.